Hey guys, just want to make sure that before we get started that you all can hear me okay. Let me see if there are any issues right now. Just checking over to see what's happening. Yeah, we have King Cyrus. What's up, bro? Um, John Jacob Jingle by the fire sale on all crypto. It's Alec. What's up? Ready for December? Three times the charm. I'm curious if we see the black curtains again. Yeah, no, actually the curtains aren't black. They're brown in the background I got here. Maybe I should try a new scene. Um, but yeah, we're about to get started here. Just want to wait to a few more folks trickle in. Just want to address a few things that have been happening over these past few days, and then what just happened not too long ago within the community. I want to be able to address all of it to get you guys in a good position where we can have have a conversation. Um, so, without any further ado, just talk about these past few days. Well, first and foremost, the market took a huge dump. We were at originally around 210 billion, then we dropped to about 150 billion. 210 dropped to 150, and then we dropped to around 119, and now we added about 10 billion since then. We're green now, but we were in the red all weekend. Caused a huge panic in the community, the cryptocurrency community in general, and Lightpay coin in particular. There were some things that was an announcement that was just made about a project that was just launched called LRM. By initially, it was mentioned it was the LPC team, LPC LGS team, but then that's not true. It is the case that it is launched by one of the developers on the team, which is the lead developer, Vlad. Speak no ill will against Vlad. It's the case that there are a variety of team members that we've had since we started in the beginning, back in Genesis block in May, then moving on to June. We had a full squad, a lot of developers in the community, developers on the team. We had some moderators on the team, and as we just moved throughout these past 6 months or so, we had some team members recruited away, some team members left, some team members started their own projects. And there's nothing wrong with that. I can't necessarily tell another member what they can or cannot necessarily do, because at the end of the day they make their own decisions, and this is the way that we are as a community. It's just the case that LPC team collectively, LMR team collectively, we aren't involved in I still have to look at it over again, LRM project. First and foremost, don't necessarily have anything to contribute to that team, um, or to that particular project. Vlad, he's been a good guy. He's helped us to build out the LPC blockchain, launch it initially, also with the LGS project in supply chain management. So it's the case he's always been with us, and he still sees LPC and LGS as one of his projects that he can basically say that yes, I've put my name on this and I've signed this. But I know that initially there was a lot of FUD created in the community, and I think it makes sense to be able to address just some of the issues, and let it be known out front what my position, what our position as a team is, and our support for Vlad in him launching his project. So let me go ahead and see if there's just any questions that there are so far. Just going through, but I did want to come out and address it immediately. What's up, LPC? ¿Qué paso, Scott Vanderpool? That's my rendition in Spanish. Buying a fire sale. Well, yeah, these past few days, John Jacob, there was a fire sale. Either you can consider it as blood in the streets or roses in the garden, depending on your perspective. So some people found some deals, and even with LPC and LGS, it's a fire sale going on. Like I said, you can consider those as roses, and you're going to pick those roses and put them in your basket, or you can just see it as an opportunity where you just really hurt. Hence the term "blood in the streets." There's Scott. Let's see what questions that we have. I'm on this quick webinar just to address the issue. And guys, I'm LPC LGS for life. As King Cyrus mentioned too. He's worked on many projects. Understood. Message retracted. That was Danielle Meyer. LRM is not connected to LPC, then you can remove the announcement from the LPC LGS channel. And this is like music to your ears. It's connected to one of the team members on LPC. As I mentioned earlier, when we first started out, we have lots of devs on our teams. We had lots of moderators as well. They subsequently left and they started their own projects, not to necessarily scratch them, but they did start their projects. For instance, Yuri, that's 123XYZ, he recently started his project um, as well, but it's the case that with Vlad, he's launched his project in LRM. So, but it is the case that the announcement was made in the channel. It was a Light Coin dev, and actually it's the lead dev and co-founder. So having him be on the team and then having him start his project, he's decided to go ahead and do his thing. That's something where I can't, like I said, I can't stop him from moving forward in that direction. Um, I know there are some folks who remove LMR announcement, but once again, he was a co-founder of LPC. That's like, for instance, if you go back and you think about Facebook, some of the original Facebook co-founders, as I call him Fart Zuckerberg, when he went along and started progressing with Facebook, he began to cut out some co-founders of the organization. And those co-founders subsequently sued. There was even some individuals, such as the Winklevoss twins, who said it was originally their idea of starting Facebook. And in a sense, I believe them. But then there were also other co-founders of Facebook who got pushed out, and then that came back to bite him at a later point in time. And as I mentioned before, I wish no ill will with Vlad. He's still going to be involved to some extent in helping us, for instance, updating some wallets periodically, getting test nets and other additional functionality added onto the different networks, and continue to build on LPC. And that's one of the things in which he mentioned he would still make some contributions back to LPC and LGS. So let me see. It's seen as shilling, riding on LPC, LGS reputation. Not right, in my opinion. Powell, and you may have a point that he's riding the reputation, but once again, he was a part of the team. Um, and I've never really had any and obviously teams going to have some conflict, and that's natural. If you had all yes men on the squad, that doesn't make for a very productive organization, particularly when you're innovating in the space. So we did have some discussions and some arguments at times, but we came around, and then we continued to push on with our mission, particularly when we look at LPC and being able to deliver on the point of sale devices and ATM machines that we reveal in the next couple weeks here. So I don't necessarily see, if he helped to build something, why would he not be able to take credit and put a feather in his cap to say that he was involved in some way. So I wouldn't necessarily want to bash him and not just, hey, you run your own project that has nothing to do with us. No, he was a part of the LPC LGS team and was one of the original co-founders. So going back to the Facebook analogy, when Mark Zuckerberg began to push people out, including his original set of co-founders after he took the idea from the Winklevoss twins. It's the case that there's some co-founders who you don't necessarily know of in Facebook because they got pushed out so early, and they subsequently sued, won in court. But it's the case. I want to recognize Vlad. He needs to be recognized as one of the original co-founders in LPC LGS, and him just being able to launch another project. For instance, the PayPal Mafia, all those guys from original PayPal Mafia went to do different things. This didn't necessarily end in conflict with most of those guys. They cashed out, they did something good, but I think we haven't necessarily delivered on our promise of ATM machines, point of sale devices deployed at scale. So that's one of the main things that I'm really here to do, not necessarily to move on to a different project. LPC, LGS, being able to build the physical network infrastructure to support a cryptocurrency industry. Yeah, there's people think about exchanges and having decentralized exchanges, and I think those are great. Centralized exchanges, and I think those initially that was a good start for individuals to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrencies. But then going back to decentralized exchanges, I think the way that we have mass adoption is to build the physical infrastructure around the world. So I don't necessarily want to and that's what really compelled me to really push forward on the ATM machines and having the logistics and supply chain partners in place to be able to realize that promise of putting a physical decentralized network whereby individuals can access cryptocurrency. So that's the vision that I see. But once again, Vlad being a member of the original team, um, then being able to move on to another project, I don't think he shouldn't have the opportunity to announce on the LPC or even LGS channels. Hmm. LP, and I can go back, and we have Danielle Meyer. Facebook knowledge doesn't hold. Vlad is leaving, not pushing people out, and on the way out is using goodwill behind LPC to float his own boat. Um, well, I'm still trying to understand, Danielle, that Vlad is leaving. He's still going to be with LPC LGS. He'll do things periodically with us. He's not necessarily just completely leaving the project. So as this is something that he has created, we haven't departed under bad circumstances or anything like that. He's starting his project, and will continue to contribute with LPC and LGS. Yes, but when they got pushed out, did they get an announcement on the front page of Facebook saying that they started another project and the funding will support Facebook? Then the market will decide whether. Yeah, and we had some valid points coming on too. And like I said, I do wish him the best of luck and in moving forward with that project, guys. But like I mentioned before, the team members from LPC, myself, Colin, the other members of the team, we're not moving forward, but he's continuing to move forward, but with his project. As I mentioned before, there were other members of the team that did the same thing. As you know, Yuri or 123XYZ, he was in a position, he went and started his project as well. And that's not something necessarily that we're coming out and we're bashing him for starting a project, even though, in my opinion, at this point, it may be somewhat risky to do considering the market. We reached an all-time low for 2018 in terms of overall market cap. But I want us to see it not necessarily as something that's bad for the community. When people think about another analogy I can use with the PayPal mafia, starting PayPal with those guys, when you see Elon Musk actually starting another company after PayPal, as in fact several companies. When you look at Tesla, when you look at his solar energy company as well. I don't necessarily know the name of it. And then you look at Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman going over to LinkedIn and starting that organization, and it's thriving. I kind of see an analogy of sorts in that sense, and as well some of the other large investment funds that exist now, or venture capital funds that exist, started by some of those original guys coming from the PayPal mafia, six set of folks. So that's just another analogy that I can use in the sense that there's a team and they're looking to build something. They move forward, and at some point they'll move in their different directions. But at the end of the day, there's still some. LPC will move on. LGS will continue on. There will still be some periodic support from Vlad, periodic support, and even from the other members who left the organization, and it doesn't necessarily preclude us from doing some partnerships at a later point in time as well. So it's up to you at the end of the day. And let me preface this by saying, once again, this is not necessarily an investment advice. If you're looking to invest in a particular project, please consult with your attorney to make sure that it's something that you're willing to do, and you're able to. Your own gains will be your gains, and your risk will be your risk, and your loss will be your loss. But once again, let your gains be your gains, your risk be your risk, and your loss be your losses. But in my endorsement of Vlad, I do endorse him. I do um, provide some support for what he's doing and moving forward with his own project. And note, I received nothing at all from the upcoming project that's coming out for making an endorsement. But it's the case that I will realize the vision of LPC. That's why I came here. I will realize the vision of the support of LGS in being a logistics and supply chain organization for LPC to distribute ATMs and point of sale devices across the world, and having that decentralized network in place. So make no mistake about the vision that I'm looking to execute on coming into LPC, and helping to manage it and LGS. So that's why I'm here. Hmm. And let me read through a few more. And it's a matter of opinion. Many have used prior businesses as a launching pad, whether that should be done or not will not be borne out here. Okay, I'm not convinced at all. The Vlad guys is fodder for me, and you didn't cut him out. And we didn't cut. And just a note, if I'm reading that correctly, maybe I should just pause and read it. Yeah, and we didn't cut Vlad out at all. Without a doubt, Vlad is once again, he's a co-founder. Go to LinkedIn, look at his profile. He's a co-founder in LPC and LGS. I'm a co-founder of LPC and LGS, and he is on the repository, still on the repository. He's on the repository at LGS, on the code repository for LPC. Um, it's the case, he's still involved in a way. He's not being pushed out, and you can constantly watch the GitHub repositories. You can constantly look at the different channels, and even on the web pages, that he's still there. He's still a co-founder. So that doesn't change regardless of anything that happens, say 200 years from now, when we have that the physical decentralized network, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of ATMs across the world. And it's the case who will be recognized as one of the original co-founders and co-founders of the business, Vlad and myself, and he's still going to be there. So there's no way that we've actually forced him out in any way. Give us some good news. That's from like music to your ears. Give you some good news, man. This is some good news here. We're finally in the green. We're looking at a 20 billion market cap. The market cap, if you look at it, yesterday was like 117 billion. So we jumped by 10 billion in less than 24 hours. I think that was great. It's moving positive. It's moving in a good direction. But let's see. Let's see if this is the final capitulation that will lead to us moving into a serious bull run. And that's sometimes there are two ways in which like bull markets typically would take place. If you look at the historical data, it's either where the volume associated with the bear market is tapering off while the prices generally on the market are still going down. And it was whimpering off, and it looked as if that was going to be the type of movement that we would have leading into the bull market, where there's a dying off of the volume, and then there would be a build up in the bull run and buy side volume. And then there's another type of characterization of how you would move into bull markets, where there would be the volume would die off, and then there would be a huge sell side pressure to create lots of volatility to the sell side, and it creates a V shape. So let's see if we can look at it now. I'll go to Tools, Global Charts. From a technical perspective, we look at it here, move to the 3 month, and see if you can see it. Yeah, see right here. there was a whimpering off. I'll go back out to the yearly. Yeah, the yearly level, you see all this volume that's here, and then you begin to see the volume. It picked up a little bit, and then it just began to die off, it tapered off. And then we were at that last little bit where we thought we were getting ready to move up because we were beginning to see higher lows and somewhat higher highs. That was that first higher high, but then the Bitcoin Cash fork came, and then there was huge capitulation. There was a volume pickup, and it began to create this V-shaped um, sell on the sell side, where there was a decrease in the market capitalization. But if you go back, I think you can see it on a yearly better. If it's going to come out to the yearly, or let's do all time. Yeah, you see that V, that huge dip, or that huge dip in the market capitalization. It corresponds, when moving to a bull market, that there would be um, a symmetrical buy up from this V side. But who knows if it's going to turn out that way or not? The evidence would suggest to me that that might happen, but who knows what may happen at this point. But I did want to address some of the concerns here, and see if there are any other questions here. The POS ATM device reveal is still going ahead. Yes, the POS ATM device reveal is still going ahead. Good news. And I can show you like some of the information that we actually will have on the website. So this came from the manufacturer of our device that we're updating for the website. This is the actual device of how it would look. And just to give some insights on it as well, I showed this to you all last week, where you do have the interface, where you have Lightpay Coin, you have Dash, you have Bitcoin, you have a couple other cryptocurrencies. But then here at the top is the LPC logo. And right now we're able to, through the ATM machine, be able to advertise either for some merchants or either government services or places where you could use some of the cryptocurrencies. So we'll be able to advertise in this top panel that you see here, and then you will be able to make your choice of purchasing some cryptocurrency here, including Lightpay Coin, and some of the other top cryptocurrencies. And this is not necessarily for us being greedy. I feel confident about us being one amongst many coins on the ATM machine. Why? Because I feel that in order for us to thrive, we can't necessarily be selfish, and for us to collaborate with other organizations, either exchanges or even other projects that coincide with us in a way, and we just look to support those projects on our ATM machine. So this is the display where you're able to make the purchase. This is the camera where if you're asking for some customer support will be able to have a chat with you while you're at the ATM machine if you're making a purchase and you can't interact. Also, there is the NFC reader that is under the second screen where you make your purchase, and once you have your QR code where you're you're looking to make a purchase of LPC, you'll put your mobile phone under that reader, and then it will take the scan of your QR code and then send the funds to that device. At the same time, this is the dispenser for the paper wallets. So not only if you don't have a mobile wallet available, say you talk about the billions and billions of people on the face of the planet who don't necessarily have a desktop computer, but they have a mobile phone, they can use the mobile phone here. But just think about there are 6 billion people with mobile phones. There are about another billion or so who are A, unbanked, and B, they don't have mobile phones. If they don't have mobile phones, they'll be able to still insert currency and have printed out a paper wallet for LPC. So you do have the option of using your mobile device and actually being able to have a paper wallet and be able to make purchases with those paper LPC funds or any of the other currencies that we have on the device. Moreover, here is the dispenser. It's a two-way dispenser where you're able to both insert cash or fiat currency or sovereign currency, and then also receive fiat currency or sovereign currency. Say you're taking in LightPay coin and you come in and you want to get fiat. You can put in your code and make the purchase of fiat from your LPC. So this is a two-way device adding that functionality. And once again, this is totally in compliance with all of the state and federal laws within the United States and other countries that we're looking to launch initially in. We have no issues being able to put these ATM machines there. When you talk about South Africa, when you begin to talk about Nigeria, or you talk about other countries on the western part of the continent of Africa, which are areas where we're looking to make huge penetration, and also within Europe as well. These ATM machines, no, we're not the first ones to the game, but we will be one of the highest quality machines, have one of the highest quality ATM machines on the face of the planet, being able to A, advertise, B, provide customer service through our web-based device, C, have multiple currencies that are available, D, be able to have paper wallets that are available, and mobile wallet, be able to take funds, make purchases and sales, paper and or mobile wallets. And it's two-way. Most ATM machines out there just one way, just only make purchases and that's it. So I think we have a total package here, and it's LPC all across the world. And when we have our partners, you're going to see every place we are across the world, you're going to see that LightPay coin logo here, and this is our brand. Helped created by the original vision of the team, including Vlad. Once again, guys, he was one of the co-founders of the original co-founders of the project and push it forward. So I think this is great news. It's unfortunate to see Vlad participate on another project, but yet I'm not wishing any ill will in him pushing forward on LRM. He'll still be involved with LPC because this is something we've done. It's when we reveal this in the next 2 weeks here in Dallas. And then the week after that, we're in Medellin, Colombia, making a reveal as well. Reveal in North America and South America. It's a fact. From conception to actual product rollout. In North America and South America, less than 6 months is impressive by any measure. Um, I don't care what organization, if you're in an emerging industry or you're in a traditional industry, going from 0 to 6 months to have a product out functional that people can use, I think it's phenomenal. And despite some team members moving on to other projects, but once again, just consider this is something like when you look at PayPal, the PayPal mafia, Reid Hoffman, um, Elon Musk. There's the other guy too. I can't remember who runs the VC firm. Can't his name escapes me. Maybe somebody can tell me. Um. So yes, I'm not asking about optics. I'm asking what are the values of the core team. Um, on the core team. So I'm going back, Danielle. I'm trying to get some context from um, some of your other comments that you had. That's Daniel Myers. So every founder can do whatever they like with no limits. Um, and no, I don't think that's necessarily the case. It would be bad if, like, for instance, I announced and going out and saying, "Hey guys, I'm done. Stick a fork in this. It's like turkey on Thanksgiving Day. I'm out." I have a fiduciary responsibility. I don't take this position lightly. I know that you all have invested your funds. I've invested my own personal funds. And as I mentioned before, it's the case. I didn't necessarily, I didn't take anything from pre-mine. When LBC first came out, I invested I invested and bought off the exchange just like everyone else, so I would have your perspective. I would have duty and responsibility, and I would take off the cap and say, as someone who is helping to manage the project, how do I feel? Now I take off that hat as a manager and say, okay, as an investor, someone who went and bought off the exchange originally, and if some of you guys want to say, oh yeah, did you really invest in, or were you really one of the first, or is it just something you just came along? Like I said, I can give you my public key address. I could sign that address and say I wasn't necessarily the first one. And you can see all the masternodes that got started up. I wasn't the first one. And I can give you and sign the public keys to my address to show that. But I did that so that I would have a feeling of responsibility to understand the sentiment of investors. So I don't think any other co-founder could just do anything that they want. Daniel Meyer, just to answer your question. Hmm. I don't have a problem with him announcing something, but when you say it to support LPC and clearly has nothing to do with them, then that is classed as fraud. And looking at one, that was AUS Joel, and that announcement I had Vlad edit that announcement because it wasn't necessarily everything in it wasn't necessarily true. So he was just saying that he would come in as someone who went in and helped to found LPC LGS, to help to bring the project where it is so far, come back and still make a contribution as a developer on the team. Um, and I don't think necessarily anything is necessarily wrong with that if you help to build an organization and you would still like to see it grow. That it's not mutually exclusive that if you just leave a project, you are also in a position where you do not and you will not make any other contributions to the team, financial or otherwise. Um, so yes, so what are the policies of LPC LGS team? We don't necessarily have a written policy about the code of conduct because I think and thought we were at a point where we're grown men and women who participate and make investments. You don't necessarily have to tell someone what is the right thing that they should do in terms of building out a project and being able to deliver. I think there's an assumption that we all have a fiduciary responsibility to deliver. Me as being the face of LPC and LGS, I feel that fiduciary responsibility and I execute on knowing that I have a responsibility to investors at the end of the day. Um, so I don't think you're going to catch me out there with my pants down at any point in time, Daniel. But it's the case that I'm not going to go out and just attempt to just violate your trust because there's this fundamental element of trust that we have here. This is still the announcement. We will sell only 20 LMR Masternodes. The price is to be, and that's coming from AUS Joel. Edit the LMR announcement of Discord to make it factual. And once again, this is the developer and co-founder of LPC LGS, and this is what he's doing, not necessarily something that I'm telling him you go and you leave and you start another project, you come and you take some of that money and you give it back to us. That's not something that I told him to do. That's something that he feels that he will continue to support the project in a way that, because he's a co-founder of the business. He's a co-founder of the organization. So from this, it seems 100% of the funds are going back to LPC, LGS. And that's not true. Even if you read this, and I respectfully disagree with you, AUS Joe. I know that you're cutting and pasting some things and say, and from this, it seems 100% of the funds are going back into LPC, LGS. But in your previous statement you just posted, we will sell 20 LMR masternodes at the price 2BT, and we will reinvest 50%. So if they're reinvesting 50, if Vlad is reinvesting 50% of the funds, why are 100% of the funds coming back as you stated? I have not made any responsibility. I have not made any obligation to, and because this is all Vlad, this is all what he has said. It's the case. I'm not a part of that team. I'm not part of the LRM project, but yet I can't speak for him 100%, and perhaps he would need to come and do a webinar himself to tell you his position. But here's how I feel. I know it's the case, and let me give you a clear example. I helped to, and with my co-founder, Dr. Larry Davis, we built a business called Limited Datamatics Assessment and Analytics. And with that business, it's the case, we received funds from a corporation, and we enter into a joint venture. We helped to build out that joint venture. At a certain point in times when we were going through merger and acquisitions talk, I decided to move into this particular space because I didn't necessarily feel that I was needed as much within that organization. Considering when mergers and acquisitions happen, they typically get rid of the co-founders. So I left the organization. Despite me leaving Limited Data Madison Assessment Analytics, I still make contributions back to that organization in giving time, effort, consultation, interaction with potential customers and clients when they need me. So it's the case that I see that as no different here. Um, but I see that there's no different here as well. So sometimes we just have to go through and what's wrong with him being able to make a contribution back to LPC LGS? That's the question I would pose back respectfully to you. And here's the thing, because we do have manufacturers and the manufacturer in place for the ATM and the point of sale device, we're making modifications to the base models. And this, what you see right now is the base model. Because we will continue to make edits to it and modifications. Perhaps there is more R&D that will be done with our partners at UCF. At the same time, we're still making meaningful contributions. He will still make meaningful contributions to the organization. So that's just what I want to make clear. It's not a cut where we're, as some might have, it was mentioned earlier, that we are pushing him out of the organization. Where if we were pushing him out of the organization, why would he want to come back and make a contribution to the to LPC for the ATMs and point of sale devices? So the only thing is, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not participating in the project. Colin is not participating in the project. The team members that we have are not. There are some members who have decided that they may want to participate, but like I said, I'm not participating in the project. It is not. It is not me. It is the LPC dev, as mentioned in the announcement, who is pushing forward in the project, knowing that the focus will not shift to LMR is all that matters to me. Yes, sir. Do I give you a salute? That is the case. I have, once again, I have fiduciary responsibility to, again, to every single investor, all 2,800 plus masternodes that we have, the 11th largest in the world. It's the case. I do have that fiduciary responsibility to you guys, and I am dedicated. And that, I think that was really one of the first things that I think every investor should have at their should really begin to think about. You know, who's really um, running, managing, involved in day-to-day activities, engaged in partnerships. Where is that coming from? We have a solid team. We're building out our brand ambassadors, and it's at the point um, we were centralized in terms of our leadership, but yet it's going to be a certain point in time where that's going to begin to diffuse and decentralize amongst all members around the world. I do expect at a certain point in time that brand ambassadors will have their own webinar. Maybe you have somebody who's funnier than I am, who could tell some jokes, who could have you guys on every other day, or and just have a live stream, and we could chat like we're going back and forth right now. Seems like a lot of developers launching a new coin to raise capital and association as claimed with the LPC. Is associated with LPC or is it not? And I'll go back. It seemed like Daniel Myers. I answered that question once again. They are affiliated with LPC because they have participated in LPC. And in the case with Vlad, he was the original founder, co-founders in the project with me and myself, because he was in the original founders LPC, LGS. He has started his project, but it's the case he is still affiliated. I'm still trying to understand. I still want to understand what's wrong with somebody who founded a project, left the project to start another project, but still is in the case, still makes some contributions. As I mentioned earlier, with my own AI startup, it's the case. Dr. Larry Davis is still over and running operations within Lumina Datamatics and Assessment Analytics. I periodically would come in and help to do some development, do either development work or engage with a client on behalf of Lumina Datamatics Assessment and Analytics. So I see nothing wrong with being able to come back and still make a contribution. So I'm still affiliated with Lumina Data Max Assessment Analytics, even though it's again, you can go in and you can check my LinkedIn profile, and that is the case. You see that I was a co-founder of the organization, but yet it's the case that LPC, that's the organization with whom I am primarily engaged in my activities now. Okay. So if I have any, if you guys have any more questions, and this is BTC WorkCom, nice Photoshop ATM, yeah, and this is this came from the manufacturer who is shipping our ATM. There's ATM that an ATM that will be here in Dallas, and there's going to be an ATM machine that will also be in Medellin, where we're doing our reveal. So let me see. I invite you the weekend of the 8th and 9th if you want to come to Dallas and make your first purchase. Please make that trip, either here in Dallas or actually in the Frisco office or in Medellin, Colombia. We can send you some details so you can actually physically touch it and you can actually engage in the process. Okay. Um, How many businesses are in place to accept LPC as payment and utilize the point of sale devices? We have a commitment right now from two organizations outside of the United States who have committed to the pilot, and with the pilot we will document what we do in terms of the implementation and the execution on this first iteration of piloting the ATMs and the point of sale devices. So that's who we have lined up. We have several leads, and these are qualified leads for the purchase of around 10 ATMs at this point. But we haven't accepted any of those funds yet for the point of sale devices or the ATMs just yet. That's going to be in within the next week or so. We will be accepting those pre-orders for the ATMs and POSs. Yes, it will be live streamed as well. The ATM, the reveal will be live streamed. Uh, so let me see if there aren't any more questions. I'll take a quick pause as the questions come through and answer them. And this is what we're because we're updating our website as well, because I know we've gotten some valid constructive criticism over our website being somewhat dated. So this was actually will be on our website. Actually, it's going to be a larger view um, of those of the ATM, and so it will replace the old ATM with our actual ATM, how it will look and feel once it's rolled out. Okay, so it looks as if we've been on for about 45 minutes, guys, but at the end of the day, I'm not an investment professional. Do your own research. But as the case is the case, Vlad has been part of the team. He's one of the original co-founders of LPC LGS. He's helped to push this project along, update wallets, help to handle any issues. And like I said, I have no ill will against Vlad and him pushing forward in LRM. I am quite pleased in the sense that the market is recovering to the point where there is some sign of light, where we can begin to just continue to push on with our vision of putting ATMs all across the world that have cryptocurrencies. It will be a true decentralized network of ATMs and point of sale devices linked through the LPC network, because as each ATM machine, each point of sale device, we would encourage the owners of those ATM machines and point of sale devices to support the network and link to it via a master node. So, yes, yeah, yes, no answer on that. I honestly don't think the reason behind this panic webinar has been really answered. There needs to be an edit on the announcement to dissociate the new product to LPC LGS. Okay, AS Joel, can you write in the webinar exactly what you would like to see in the announcement? So I don't. What would you like to see in the announcement? So if you can clearly just type that out to me, we can read it like right now to see what makes sense. So because this is how I see it. Someone who's been associated with LPC and LGS from the beginning. Someone who is starting a project but making an announcement on our channel. Is actually the LPC LGS channel, because started the Discord channel as a co-founder on LPC LGS. He's made the announcement on the channel, and as it shows, it says the LPC dev has launched a project. And tell me what you would like to see. And because I don't control the Discord channel, I can't make edits to his announcements, but I can have him make the edits to his announcement. So I think that was the recommendation. I was asking AUS Joel. There needs to be an edit on the announcement. So I'm asking AUS Joel what specifically what we like to have. What would he like to have in terms of an edited announcement? So I'm just trying to get at the crux of his issue. So if I see the pure id of unfiltered, what he would like have in the announcement, and let's just look at it and see. As I wait on AS Joel, I'll read a few of these other comments. Who gets fee from ATM and how will it affect LPC? If I need LPC for the Masternode, is it easier for me to buy it on the computer? So if he's really looking to, and that's going to be something that's driven by driven in part by our various business models, because we're going to have to experiment with various business models, and that's coming from btcwarp.com. Could you buy it cheaper on an exchange? Who gets the fee from the ATM? It's in part with some of the agreements that we have. There are two options in place on that. There's one where the purchaser, the merchant, can pay a fee to have full total control over the way in which fees are set, or there's a set fee that's in place that will begin to cover some of the administrative costs and some of the support costs for coming on. Like say for instance, as I mentioned earlier, you may get onto the machine, you may put in some fiat, and then it's the case that you have a question, or you have some problem, you might have a problem with the machine, and then there's someone who's talking with you. Those fees that are paid are in part will be distributed to the support team. But then it's the case that the manufacturer or the merchant who purchased the machine can opt out and then set fees however they would like, from zero to whatever they would consider fees. Just like with the master nodes, right now, you don't have to set fees because you're getting paid by the network for supporting confirming transaction or sending instant transactions, or anonymous transactions. But there's going to be a certain point in time where you will have to set the fees yourself, being a masternode owner. And if you're a masternode owner and if you're an ATM owner, you'll have the option of being able to set your fees. So that's who will be able to make those adjustments. No, LPC, the LPC team, I mean, that's ODB Crypto. LPC team is not launching a new coin. So let me know, guys. Give me your consensus around here, because I'm in terms of what you'd like to know in terms of updating the announcement. So, and that's typically what you would do. Anytime you're given a situation, and this is what I'm still trying to understand. If there are, I'll read what Daniel Meyer is saying. Both announcement on Discord associate LRM project with LPC and LGS respectively, as LGS is associated with LPC, with the announcement setting expectations that all three are associated directly. All three are not associated directly in the sense that the team from LPC, the team from LGS are not participating in this project. The developer from L Light Paycoin, and I think probably should have mentioned this in the announcement. The co-founder of LPC and LGS is launching a project. LPC and LGS, they are continuing. I don't see, and this is from my perspective, I don't see how LRM is directly related to us in the sense of operational activities. Per I don't see that, but it's the case. It's the founder and developer in LPC LGS who is launching the project's LRM. Yeah, and I see this. You guys do understand that his announcement is undermining your project and causing investors to think scam because they see the launch of another coin and not focus on main project. And this is why I'm saying this: the LPC team. I'm not affiliated with the project, guys. I know how important LightPay Coin and Lotus Coin and supporting LPC is. This is why I am not participating in the project. I am not on the project at all. My focus is on getting out ATM machines, ATM machines, point of sale devices. That's my focus. That's my dedication. Like an announcement clearly distinguishes LMR from LPC and LGS projects, something that establishes that this is simply a team member starting a new project, promoting through. Okay, and here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and write the announcement. I'll go ahead and and I'm getting the sense of it now. I see where you're beginning to say, like the music to your ears, and from Daniel Myers, separating the operational activities of LPC, LGS from this LRM project. It is, and once again, I can say it like this: it is a developer of the LPC, LGS team who just happens to be the co-founder and he's separating to launch a project despite being co-founder and a developer on LPC, LGS. And this is what I'm asking. Are we really? And this is coming from Strider561. We really don't care about LRM. We care about the what the announcement says. Please read the actual announcement. So let me go here and I'll read the announcement. Um, and this is an LPC. They say, I am glad to announce LightPay Coin launched the new, and this is coming from LPC Dev, and LPC Dev that's Vlad, and he's the co-founder of LPC. I am glad to announce LightPay Coin launched the new project, Liquid Regenerative Coin. The LPC coin is created and supported by the LPay LightPay Coin Dev. So I'm thinking that you would want to make an edit. I'm glad to announce that LightPayCoin launched new project. No, it's the LightPayCoin dev. I kind of see what you're saying now. Yeah, I'm glad to announce that it's the LightPayCoin dev launched a new project, LRM. LRM is created and supported by LightPayCoin dev. Um, saying I'm thinking he will sell. So let's make the announcement there. No, LightPayCoin did not launch it. It's LightPayCoin dev launched it. So, so that's Vlad. Vlad. So it's a LightPayCoin dev. Yes, that's Vlad. Daniel Meyer. So that's Kenny Black. How much are the ATMs selling for? Are they available to the public to purchase and place in mom and pop businesses? As a quick answer to that, all in, we do have a suggested retail price because we have the case, but we do have like what we have at a bare minimum in order to be able to get those out. But then there's certain things that you can add on to it. So right now it's looking at we're 10K roughly all in for all some services, but then there's some things that we will make available to you guys as well. Announcement says our LPC, our yes, and so we're on the chat, guys. So let me know. So this is yeah, I can stay on this. I can stay on here. I can stay here all day, even though we're reaching the 1 hour point. Um, so send me a specific. Okay. So Daniel Meyer, I see. Yeah, I'm just reading your comment. I realize crypto is completely unregulated Wild West. However, this is a clear bait and switch. And help me understand, because I'm asking you, how is this a bait and switch? Like I said, this is a developer or someone that was affiliated with the team launching another project. LPC is continuing. It's not ending. It will continue to function. It will continue to grow. We'll continue to deliver on our promise. So I don't see how there's a bait and switch. Okay, that's AUS Joel. I honestly think you should just talk to Vlad and get him to remove the announcement. At the end of the day, LPC is to support LPC, LGS, and not shield other projects. So is that what you would like? Sure, the announcement say LPC is launching. Okay, guys. So at the end of the day, let me know and just tell me how many you just because it's a project in which in the LPC LGS projects are projects in which he was the co-founder along with myself. So getting that removed from the channel is not LPC. It is an individual. Yes, it's not. Yes, it's not LPC. It is an individual that's launching that project. So at this point, you want that removed from the. Just give me a yes or no. Just get the announcement removed off the Discord channel, and then you guys are good. If I can get a yes for just removing it off the channel, that would work. Yes, please have them remove the announcement. That's one yes. What about you, Daniel Meyer? You're very vocal, and I think it makes sense to have it. It's the wording of the announcement. Yes. Okay, Daniel. Okay. So it looks like we're getting some consensus here. Yes, that's Brian. That's Strider. That's Chris. All right. So we reached consensus. And it looks like Strider was saying it's just the wording of the announcement. All right. I'm against it being announced. Yeah. And I can see how you feel, Corey. Kenny Black, yes. Cynical, yes. ODB, crypto, yes. All right. We have consensus. I don't think that there's no one who said no. All right, so let me take a quick pause of that. Let me do this right here because this is a community, and I think your voices count. And let's get this in. I'm going to take a quick copy of this. Go here. Removed. No. Edited. Yes, and that's from RF Radio. Let's do that. Imprints. Capture. All right, I got it, guys. Anything else? And like I said, we care about what you think. We care about what issues you might have in the community, and this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to have the conversation, and just to get it out there in real time, and get your thoughts on it. Yeah, good intentions, and we wish the project success, but no need to undermine LPC LGS projects. I hear you. It needs to be edited on both Discords. Okay, gotcha. All right, anything else, guys? Because I know it's late and I know you might have some other things to do, but I did want to get on this a webinar to clarify some things and get it cleared out. So, and once again, we have the video here. The problem is he is just exploiting being a part of the project to inflate his own at the cost of your investors. And Chris, this is what I was mentioning again. This is something that we built together. He was a co-founder in the original LPC, co-founder in original LGS, starting and building out from the team, being one of the developers, myself being a developer, also being out in front and helping to manage the organization. Um, so it's something that he helped build, and being able to make an announcement. And this is something I don't think there's anything wrong with. I see the perception of how it looks like, we're doing or he's doing, moving out and just saying, okay, I'm starting another project and I'm just dumping LPC. No, that's not necessarily what's happening. I'm still here. The team is still here. Our partners are still in place. Lumina is still here. Our unannounced partners in place. It's the case we're continuing to. Our manufacturer is in place. Our manufacturer is doing reveals for us. We are doing our reveals as well. So I'm still here for you guys. Just let me know I'm still here. We just listed on another exchange. We're looking to make another announcement about an exchange in December, and hopefully this will be something that you guys will be proud of too. Um, Yeah, I can see your point, Chris. I can see your point. How it makes me look bad. So it's one of the things that and this is why I'm so vocal about it. This is one of the reasons why I'm out here and I'm attempting to clarify with the community what's going on in the case of a developer. And this is something this is not new. In the sense that we've had other developers who were on the team who end up leaving and starting their own project. But I think the thing that probably makes this unique is the sense that he's a co-founder who's actually starting a project of his own. So it's him individually going out and starting LRM, and I think him making the announcement on the channel has put a bad taste in the community's mouth and a level of uncertainty, and that's one thing that investors don't like, uncertainty. So this is one reason why we're having it. We're having a discussion now to remove the announcement and be able to move forward from there. Okay, thank you for taking the time to address these issues. So from what I understand right now, just having the announcements removed makes sense. Um, it's clearly stated from my perspective, the LPC team, LGS team, we're not participating in this LRM project that the LPC dev and co-founder Vlad has decided to launch himself. So this is totally independent of LPC. Okay. or a bad taste. Yeah. So hopefully we address some of the issues, and at this point, I'll close it. Take a pause for a few more questions to come through the chat, and then we can shut it down. Chris, I just think you're too nice towards him. Crypto is ruthless. When stuff like this happens, that damage the project you were working on needs to be dealt with accordingly. I try to have a soft touch, but then it's one of the things. You know, this is something where we have over 2,800 investors across the world in this project that he was a co-founder on, because he was a co-founder, and he's starting LRM, and I'm continuing to push forward with LPC, LGS. I don't see where it could really destroy us, because we're one of the 11th largest masternode. We are the 11th largest masternode network in the world. Um, it does kind of put like a bad taste in some investors' mouth to see, hey, someone's not totally dedicated and pushing out LPC in terms of getting out the ATMs and point. I'm here. So that's the commitment that I've made. Yeah, Kenny Black is still, yeah, it's still early, so LMR project is coming at the perfect time. Poor marketing by putting in the channel though. Yeah, clever approach. Yeah, Brady, thanks for the clarification. Hey, Brady, how you doing? Hmm. Perhaps more collaborative approach in this industry will help drive further. And I think we need that, RF radio. I think there are a lot of projects that hate on one another. And even when we were getting hacked, when we were having thousands of dollars stolen each and every single day, I actually I was tipped off that a hacker was in the community, and I chased him down. And then we began to have a chat, and he discussed with me that basically he hated our project. He said he hated what we were doing in the community. He hated that we were doing well. He was stealing money. He was taking the crypto, selling it, and pouring it into his project. Um, that shouldn't necessarily be the mentality that we have if we want the community to, or the crypto community to thrive and excel. It's still early, guys. It's 1993, 1994 all over again. I think when you look at the Netscape browser, 1994, it had about a good almost, I think, 100 million users or so on Netscape. But if you look at the Bitcoin wallets, in terms of the number of downloads, it's much lower than that. Um, so it's a position we have a long way to go, before this reaches mainstream adoption. So I see us earlier than 1994 if we're using the internet as an analogy in the growth of the cryptocurrency industry. So we don't need to be at each other's throat. And I do think there can be some civility, even though we do have our disagreements. And I think this is one of the things, the community having a discussion where we have a decentralized community, everyone voicing their concerns about what's happening, and then we address those issues accordingly. So and give me some time to work this out, and I think at the end of the day we're going to be good. Um, yeah, and that seemed to be the case. No, and I didn't necessarily have a discussion on the announcement at all. It was out of the blue. But then, like I said, going back to perspective of because he's a co-founder in the project, and I didn't necessarily think that anyone would work to destroy our community that we've built or the progress that we've made so far. Um, it would do best things that were in the best interest of the organization. Um, so because this is an independent project that he's working, I don't see how LRM totally disrupts LPC in terms of what we're trying to do and what we're trying to build. But like I said, I do wish him. I'm not wishing any ill will on him at all in terms of him launching LRM. And that's Kenny Black. The new project is still loyal to LPC LGS, just delivered incorrectly. And I think so too. At the end of the day, um, but then you can argue one side of, hey, he is a co-founder in the organization. He helped to build LPC. He helped to build LGS. So because he has some level of trust in the community, he should be able to make some announcement. So what kind of exposure will his announcement bring from the Security and Exchange Commission? And let's think about the Securities and Exchange Commission. It's one of the things that the SEC, they have two purposes. One is to encourage the development of capital markets, and the other one is to protect the investor. And from the point of the perspective of protecting the investor, is it the case that I can see if he took LRM and the investors from LPC went over and they end up losing millions and millions of dollars making the investment and LRM turned out to be a scam or something? Then that has some ramifications to the degree that the SEC is making an investigation of it. This is one of the reasons why I've been proactive in outreach to members of the SEC to have conversations about what we're doing in LPC LGS. We've had some of those interactions, and not necessarily say that that puts us in the clear, but it does put us in a position where I'm on the up and up and saying everything that we're looking to do, we're going out and we're accomplishing. So if they did an investigation on LPC, LGS, and looking at us to say, okay, have they delivered on ATM machines? Have they delivered on point of sale devices as of within 6 months? That wouldn't be even a realistic expectation to be able to deliver, but we have in the next few weeks. We make the reveal. We will have delivered on the ATM machines and point of sale devices. So I don't see where there would be fraud in that sense of us building out. But say it's the case that LMR moves out. If it delivers on its promise, it's great. There's some companies that just fail because they don't either have the team or they're undercapitalized. Um, and it's the case. You can't necessarily say that was fraud. That was just poor execution. But it may be the case that it thrives. And in the sense, there's nothing um, that SEC can put on it to say, hey, this was a fraud because it failed. It failed because it was poorly executed. So that's kind of like how I see it from that perspective. So ODB, is he using your project to sell his project? And is he using your project? And what I mean, looking at your project, when he's saying your project, it's actually his project too, because he's just capitalizing off the success that he's had in the past. And any entrepreneur would do that in a sense if they built a successful company, and if they are able to leverage that in a way and have that to help their next venture. Like in the sense with Lumina Datamatics Assessment and Analytics, it's the case based upon my activities within Lumina Datamatics Assessment and Analytics. Lumina came in as one of our corporate partners because of my track record. So it's the case that I was able to leverage my past relationship to help further a new entity in which I was moving forward. So that's um, in a way that I think that's only fair that he should be able to use some past success and organization to be able to move forward on that. So we do have, can you please answer this question? This coming from Pradeep. As a moderator from both LPC or GS, what is your advice to us who are working in the LMR? We want all the projects to succeed. And Pradeep, like I said, at the end of the day, it's your decision being able to move over into the project, and just like it was the core team members here within LPC, LGS, not to participate. Um, so it's your decision at the end of the day being able to participate. I'm not going to necessarily make an individual decision for you, but if the terms and conditions that he's if he's proposed some to you to help that project succeed, perhaps it's something that you've had trust in, and I still have trust in Vlad and being able to help his project. If you'd like to go over and help his project, I don't necessarily see anything that's wrong with that. Um, so at the end of the day, you have to make that decision. So, okay. Right now, we've been on an hour and 17 minutes. I think the resolution that we've come to is being able to remove the announcement. And then at that point, make some clarification. I'll make a clarification on Wednesday as well about the LMR project and its relations to LPC and LGS, and the relation to LPC LGS is exclusively through the co-founder of LPC LGS, who's started a project LRM. And that's someone, Vlad, and I think you all have come because you've come to trust me and you've become to trust the team. No, you trust Vlad in a sense. So now it's one of those things where he's moving forward in his work. All right, guys. No, thank you. No, thank you just for being frank, being upfront, and at iron sharpen iron at the end of the day, guys. Just remember that. So if you I don't think at the end of the day, if we didn't have a community that was fierce, if we didn't have a community that said and spoke their mind when they needed to, I don't think we'd be much of a community because we would just follow anything that was moving. But because you guys have come out and you've voiced your concerns, and we're going to take action on that. All right, I'm going to close this out. Thanks for your time. It's 7:18. You can hit me with in a direct message, and then we'd be able to go from there. All right, thanks. Take care, guys. Mm.